Boyks, let me tell you the tale of a man and his family. So he was a hard-working family man who had a beautiful wife and 2 kids. One day, his family decided to go for a camping trip deep into the woods. And at that same night, he had to work late, so his family went out by themselves. But as a storm rolled in and lightning crashed down, he heard a knock on his door. And he opened it up, and it was a dog. Later that night, he found that his whole family had died in a horrible car accident. That dog, it was infected by the soul of Barghast!
Not again!
The
Not
angel
again!
dog!
Why
The
does this
angel
keep
of
happening?
Welcome to Rough Cuts.
Dogs, they're coming. They're coming your way. They'll be here soon.
He really is a great dog.
But he's a dog.
You'll learn to love him.
Stay here. Oh my gosh, is anyone alive down there? Did you call 911? No, I got it.
We selected a veterinary clinic closest to your record of address. Give them a call first thing in the morning. You can collect your dog. He survived the wreck. It was somewhat of a miracle.
How many demons are really angels? That's the real question of this film, I think.
All of them, actually.
All of them?
The answer is literally... Isn't it technically literally all of them?
All of them. Like, the biblical angel is one that brings upon death to those that see it.
Yes. Also, like, isn't that what demons are, though? Like, demons are supposed to be fallen angels, right? Like, isn't that the...
My knowledge of religion is the movie Dogma, so that has a daemon, not a demon, really.
Sure. But... Well, might be both. Also, my knowledge of Christianity is pensive piano music over sad montages. So
that's most of Christianity. Yeah,
I watched this movie as a way to connect with Christianity, and I have learned that Christians scream at people for having their families killed. That they love trauma, absolutely love it. They follow it everywhere. They watch it all the time. They like sit outside of people's windows. They go on their tippy toes to people's houses that they've never been to before and like try and look inside of it so that they can get a little whiff of the trauma off of how their whole family died.
Just waft it over
for it.
I
want to drink it in like that. So that's it. They also pet their dogs a lot. So, 50-50.
This might be the highest dog petting scene to other scene ratio we've ever seen in a film.
Easily.
And it's it's probably the worst of those films that has dog petting in it.
Yes.
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
They've reached a saturated moment of petting the dog where it became like a distraction from the rest of the film.
No, it didn't. No. Okay, there you lost me.
No,
because I would always want to be distracted from the rest of this film. that's fine.
Maybe that was the intent. Yeah,
I would think so. It had to be.
Yeah.
To put it in context, we watched Angel Dog. Hi, I'm your host, Ilian, and this is my wonderful co-host, The Boyks.
Hello.
We do a podcast about good boys and bad movies. Now that we're out of the way of what this podcast is, in case you haven't watched this before, because we never do that. No one knows the fuck our podcast is about. We don't get new listeners. God, this movie, I'm so lost.
Yeah, it's Angel Dog, also named Cooper is the other alternate name of the film.
Oh, was it? Okay.
2011 movie about a dog that like follows people around who have had death in their family, and then the fucking microsecond they start to feel better.
Yes.
Gone.
Yeah. No,
immense loss again.
Have you ever seen the movie The Dark Knight Rises?
No.
You didn't? Okay. For those people that have seen the movie The Dark Knight Rises, when he's climbing out of the dark prison well thing, and it's this whole thing where they have to ascend out of the darkness, out of the prison from this well, and he slowly climbs out, and he gets his last hand on the rim of the well, and he can feel sunlight on his hand. That's when this dog comes over and bites that hand and throws you back in the well.
Yes.
That's what this dog is.
Yeah. This is supposed to be an act of
love,
compassion. I
compassion.
guess. Compassion for sure. But it isn't. It's an act of like
extreme violence.
Extreme violence and sucking as much trauma and despair as you can to sustain your own being.
Yes. Yeah. No, this dog is an emotional vampire. It sucks all joy from everyone's lives around it. And when they're a hollowed out husk and it's done with you, then it moves to the next family where it
victim.
does like
victim.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. The families are all victim. Yeah. Where it can like cut the brake lines again and cause another horrible car accident so it can get some more of that sweet trauma.
Like, the only thing this movie is missing is the scenes with the fake dog pod.
Yes,
doing all of those acts. It would be the same movie if they added those scenes, but just
Well, no, it would have been way more interesting. We made this all headcanon because it makes this movie actually watchable.
Oh, is it not headcanon though? Like, is it headcanon or is it reality?
It's reality, but
I think we have a strong case for reality. Yes.
We need to let people in on what's going on here because this is incredible.
So, first of all, this is a Dove film. Dove is the Christian network of streaming media, if you've never heard of them. And one, that means it's going to be low budget. Two, they're going to fit God in somewhere. Which makes sense because it's Angel Dog, but they didn't really fit a message in other than, like, you have to have faith that this animal loves helping people who have had trauma, not causing the trauma. Wink, wink.
Certainly
wink,
not.
nudge.
Definitely no. Never.
Yeah. So the film starts with an intro. I don't know, graphic. I guess found footage. It's weird. It starts like the Blair Witch Project. Even?
Yeah, it's weird.
And there's a family with like a weird VHS recording as they're out hiking in the mountains, like saying, "Hey, look, it's Mom. We really wish you were here. We're totally not gonna die."
I love life. Life is the best. You know what? I can't wait until I can grow old and die very happy in a home. Anyways, see you later, Dad. Bye. I'm not dead later.
And the whole time, the dad's on his computer at work, staring blankly into the screen, saying, "Computer, show me Tane."
Please. Nude Tane. No. Not that nude. No. Okay, give him a hat. Shimmy 5%.
That's the stuff.
He has the most blank look staring at this computer, and I thought, it's because they're trying to show that, he's soulless at work and sad that he has to work instead of going and hanging out with his family. Little did I realize that is just the only emotion that any person in this movie can ever show.
No, the trick is that everybody in this movie is listless and soulless and has no range in any of their acting. But, okay, so as he's staring at Tane on his computer doing work, his family gets back in the car after they're hiking, and they pet their dog. They love that dog. And then it hard cuts to their car upside down and somebody digging through the glass.
Yes, and it was hard to know that it was their car because we hadn't really seen their car. It's just like a car on the side of the road upside down. And then you see this dog that they had crawling out of it as somebody's rescuing the dog.
Yeah.
And
who's fine? Honestly, that dog didn't even have a scratch.
No, and
nothing.
Honestly, for a while there, I was really confused because there's an old man behind her also helping get this dog out, and an incredible scene because I thought, okay, was there no one else in the car? Like, what's going on? Because
Like, was the
she's
dog
looking through-
driving?
yeah, because she's looking
Yeah,
through
right?
the wreckage. Well, she's looking through the wreckage and she's kind of half smiling. And she's like, oh, come here, boy. Come on out. It's okay. And the old man behind her's like, wow, look, the dog's fine. It's a miracle. When we learn the context for this, the family's dead in the car.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
they're bleeding out, dying. And
Yeah.
she's sitting there with like this smile going like, come here, puppy.
They're just-
oh, he's
they're
a
just-
good boy.
Like if this was
fuck?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they'd be like dragging their bodies out, like
Right? Well, this car is a fucking
like, oh my
bloodbath,
God.
and they're sitting
Yeah.
there going like, "Oh, look at this cute puppy," and the guy behind her goes like, "Oh wow, look, the dog's fine. It's a miracle. This
Yeah.
family's wiped out, but boy, the dog's
Boy,
super
that
cool
dog's
and
good."
okay."
So then the cop,
What the?
the sheriff or whatever, calls our main character at his
Mhm.
office job where he's watching Tane on his computer. He's like, "Hey, I don't know how to say this, but your family's fucking dead. Oh, but the dog's good. It's a miracle. The dog's okay." Smile.
He survived the wreck. It was somewhat of a miracle.
Yeah, unlike your family. Well, anyway.
Somewhat of a miracle over his dead wife and children. Fucking
Who's
Christ.
the owner of record?
Holy crap.
Holly, the cops brought him the mail today.
He says that it's a miracle again. He does.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and of course, the director says, "Okay, all right, I need you to hold on listless." Okay,
Mhm.
perfect. Good. Yeah, just give me more of that listlessness. He does
Yeah.
a very good listless. This actor was perfectly cast because if they wanted somebody to wander through this movie with like almost no facial expression as a dark void, they found the person.
Yeah, man, after that phone call, we know his family's dead. We know he knows his family dead. What should we logically do next? We should go to the morgue and show him looking at his dead family.
Fuck right, yeah.
Because we
Yeah,
need to
I
make
forgot about
sure that it's his family that's dead.
Oh my god. As do 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 do.
What the fuck? And the whole time he's staring at his dead wife's body in the morgue, like on a slab. The sheriff's like, "Yeah, and that dog was just fine. It's a real miracle."
Oh my god, he totally does.
And
It's
he's
so
laying it on
fucked.
that the dog is so much more important than his family.
Yep. And they use miracle like 4 or 5 times at the beginning of this. Well, this man is staring at the lifeless husks of his wife and
Yeah.
children
It's
from this
so
horrible
bad.
car accident. And they're like, you know, you're real lucky you got that dog. That's sure a miracle that dog got out without a scratch. Shame about the rest of the family, though.
It's like, where are
He's
your
just eating pie.
priorities? Yeah, he's like, that must have died of natural
Causes.
causes.
Ain't more
Everybody
natural-
knows it's natural to losing your spine.
Oh my god.
Like that's why I keep making the Texas Chainsaw Massacre like because this is a scene they would have with like the cop that killed the family is sitting there talking to
Sure.
the father, being like, "Yeah, natural causes. It just happened. Weirdest thing." You know,
I just
it's so weird.
yeah, they really try and make this look like a positive for him, which seems maybe
guess.
insensitive. I don't
a
know.
little
Maybe.
bit insensitive. So he goes
Maybe.
home after the morgue, and he's looking at his bed without his wife in it, and then he turns into a sim who like doesn't get
has
enough
a big
sleep
red crystal over his head.
and has a big red
curled
crystal
up
over his
fetal.
head and fetal position on the floor,
Uh-huh.
and it's so weird.
Yeah,
It's
we
so
show him
weird.
at yeah, and isn't this where we got also like the so we get a flashback of them naming the dog around here too?
Right, yeah, because we learned that they literally picked up that dog the day before they went out and died.
Yeah, like that morning or something, or the day
Yeah.
before. It's like right away.
Which begs the question, is the dog an omen of death?
I mean,
As it turns out,
beg a question. It is entirely the answer. Yeah, it's 100% what happens. Yes.
As it turns out, it's correct.
God, there's so many. I love the way that this movie doesn't realize how it can be interpreted. Like, we'll get to that anyway. Oh God, but yeah. So he has this flashback of them finding this dog, and then immediately like the family's dead. And meanwhile, the sheriff brings the dog into a vet who he's like, well, his dog was in an accident. Is it okay? It was a real miracle. This dog's fine. Super miracle. God, it's incredible how this dog's cool. Man, don't worry about the blood flecks in it. That's just from the family that died next to him.
Well,
Like-
he doesn't even mention that because she
No, I know.
assumes that it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like a fender bender.
Yes.
She assumes like somebody just like tapped their car. The dog was spooked. I don't.
Or something. I don't know. He says like,
What
yeah, this
an
dog was in an
asshole.
accident, and then just leaves it there. Doesn't tell her anything. So then the next like 10 minutes of movie or something are these vets being the shittiest people in the
Yes.
universe to him.
Yes.
Where they keep on calling him and being like, hey, you deadbeat dumb motherfucker, you left your fucking dog at our pound. You're just trying to dump your fucking dog, huh? You loser asshole deadbeat. We're gonna send you the fucking bill. It's $30 a day boarding, asshole. Like on his answering machine. Am I exaggerating? That's pretty close to what they're doing.
And if you don't come pick it up by the end of the week, we're gonna euthanize your dog. Yes.
Yes. She does literally say to him, like, we were gonna have to put that beautiful animal to sleep, you fucking monster. It's like,
My God.
like she says that to his face when he comes to pick it up, because they show him like he's constantly on the floor eating like cold
Yeah.
McDonald's with
And
sad
just, like,
piano music.
Disassociating from
Yes,
life.
and he's got like
Yeah.
they make him look greasy and like
Mhm.
strung out, which, hey, listen, I fucking get it. If my wife
Yeah.
tomorrow was just gone, I would absolutely be the same. But it's, oh my God, incredible setup for the first 10 minutes of your movie. And he goes to the vet eventually, and she just chews him out.
He doesn't go to the vet yet because they haven't finished piling on the fucking trauma. They have
Sure.
to have the funeral too.
Yes, they did
They
have to
have
have the
all of that
funeral and
shit.
stuff first. Yeah.
I don't even. But yeah, he does eventually go to the vets like after 5 days in
Or something.
in movie
Yeah,
time.
they say something
Yeah.
like that. They say it's like been a
Yeah.
week or something, and she's like, I think that it was more than 5 days, because she said like after 5 days we're allowed to like euthanize it and stuff, and we were gonna kill your fucking dog, you loser, and like just yells at him about it, and he's just sitting there going like,
Okay.
alright,
Can I go?
good. And like he's got like these bags
Yeah.
under his eyes, and he's greasy and listless, and you're like, hey, maybe there's something else going on here, people. Like, maybe you should clue in that this guy is extremely fucked up.
And then but after he leaves and takes the dog with him, like Cooper won't get in the car because he's scared of cars.
They give this dog PTSD from
Yes.
cars.
So he has to walk him home and leave his car there. But as he leaves, the vet is like, you know what? I thought something was weird. He looked so sad. The guy? Oh fuck no, that guy looked normal. The dog was so sad.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you look at that
guy? No. The answer is
What?
no. The answer is no. She's like, that dog is so sad. She obviously doesn't want to be with that fucking pile of shit. Can you believe that he left his dog here for half a week? And it's like, well, his family was annihilated. So I mean, maybe
I don't.
Maybe.
But I guess this is the cop's fault in a way.
Yes.
But she's
it
also
is.
terrible. But
they're both terrible. They're both. She's also.
Yeah.
Oh god, her whole steez is wild. But
Yeah.
So he can't get the dog in the car, so he walks the dog home instead. And then he lays on the floor listless with the dog.
Yeah,
And
he does.
He's like, I'm honestly surprised they didn't show him eating out of a can of dog food and passing it back and forth between him and the dog, because it's basically the
Yeah.
same. Like, it is obviously like cold fries McDonald's that he's having all the time, and like passing fries to the dog while he sits on the floor in the fetal position.
Yeah,
He's
so
like,
he's on the fetal
Are
position.
you having fun
yeah.
watching this movie yet? Is this movie
This is
fun
great.
yet?
But as he's eating his cold fries, sitting on the floor, so that his dog can be in frame, he gets up and takes his dog for a walk to go back to his car. The dog won't get in the car again, so he walks back home and then lies on the floor eating food with his dog.
Yes.
and
the
then
vet
this
starts
happens like
calling him.
17 times.
Well, she gets mad first. First, they call him and
Yeah.
they get really angry
Yeah.
about him again. They're like, "You
Dude,
left
why
the
the fuck is your
fucking
car
here?
here?"
What are you gonna do? Do we need to tow it to your house?" And he's like, "Oh, is it in the way? I guess I can come move it." And so, like, that's why he like walks down to it, and the dog won't get in the car. And then they're finally like, the secretary, kind of like vet assistant lady, is like watching this, and she eventually goes like, that dog looks like it really doesn't want to get in that car. Do you think that maybe it was more than a fender bender? So then they Google search and they
They
show
literally
her
Google
Google
it.
searching. Yeah, and it's like, survived by the family's wiped out, and it's survived by the husband, the name of this character, and they're like, oh fuck. But at least she's like, at least this part, it makes it, the cops are bastards. Even in this movie, the cops are bastards. They're like, I'm gonna kill that fucking cop. He didn't do some kind of accident. Because the cop just told them, like, oh, this dog was in some kind of accident. It's like, the one that wiped out this dude's family. And they're like, should we tell him to tow the car? And she's like, no. And then like the assistant's like, oh my God, I'm gonna call him and apologize. And this is the one time where I'm like, oh my God, the vet's right. The vet does one thing correct in this entire movie, where she goes like, no. If you call him, it's just about alleviating your own guilt. He probably just wants to be left the hell alone. Don't call him. Leave him alone.
So anyway, she's going to harass him for the rest of the film. Yeah, what? Come on.
Including when she goes to his house later at the end of the movie. Sorry, this is the perfect time to bring this up. Where she knocks on the door. It is a for sale sign sold sign on his lawn, and she knocks on his door, and when he doesn't answer, she starts looking for ways to break in and is like peeking in through his windows, and it's like,
God,
what the fuck are you doing? You're his vet. You've known him for like 3 fucking days. Leave him alone.
She's stalking him is what she's doing.
It's fucking creepy. It's so wrong. Everybody in this movie is
everybody's behavior in this movie is fucking weird. It's just weird. Okay, so he keeps going back eventually to the car, but every time he goes to the car, he brings the dog with him. Why? If you wanted to go get the car, why didn't you just go get the car?
I'll give them a little bit for this because he does.
That.
Well, he did say before that, he said, "Oh, you've got some trauma about this, huh, boy? All right, I'll help you get through this." So this is him like working through his own trauma helping.
But he can do it in his driveway. I don't.
Yes.
She doesn't need to leave it at the fucking vet's office.
Well, but then she wouldn't have an excuse to stalk the shit out of him.
She wouldn't have an excuse to keep every time walking to the front and looking out the window to see if he's at his car. Like a creepy weirdo.
And then like following him home and staring at him through her binoculars and then looking in his windows when he's not around to see if she can catch the dog.
It's real weird.
I also love that during this whole thing, her vet techs are like, she goes like, oh man, his eyes are so sad. Like she does the same thing again. She's like, oh, like it's so sad what's happening here. And they're like, yeah, it's really sad that guy lost his whole family. She's like, no, the dog won't get in the car. And you're like, Christ, lady. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's the takeaway.
That's the important part.
But she does that. She does that a couple times where she's like, no, it's like the dog's eyes. The dog's so sad. And they're like, and maybe the guy who lost this. Never mind. Don't worry.
No,
not
that. Not that. No.
She is the worst. They really make her miserable. She is an awful person.
We get an entire montage song about the dog not getting in the car.
We get a montage. Okay, we get a montage.
Every scene in the movie is a montage song, but
yes.
But there's a whole song about like when your dog has PTSD and won't get in your car.
There is, yeah. It's all soft, rock country is the only way that I can.
You grab a Pabst and you lie on the floor. my god.
It's love that never dies.
Angel dog.
When your dreams have lost their meaning and hope has lost its way.
Like what?
It's country music, but done as like spoken word soft rock.
Spoken
is
word
the only way that I can
sing-song,
think of.
yeah.
Where it's like just you said like you get a Pabst and lie on the floor, and it's like all like like piano music in the background of that while they're singing this. It's weird.
We do find out that the vet has her own problems with her mother.
What? No, this movie has more trauma porn. It's almost like that's all that these people are wanting to put in their movies.
Her father left their family when she was 7. So her mother turned to the booze.
And that's what gave her Alzheimer's, because she let a demon into her by drinking all the booze.
And not because she's 95.
Or because Alzheimer's happens to people.
But you have to it has to be a punishment. That's why you got fucking A. So she's blaming her mom for ruining her life while she's in this like nursing home. That's the whole thing. It sucks.
Every time that she's in the nursing home, she does that. She goes in there and she finds an album of, I guess, family photos. Like, none of this it's super ambiguous. Everything around all of this stuff is really ambiguous. Like, you were saying that the dad left when she was 7, and I'm like, I think that's what happened.
That's explicitly said.
Is it?
It is, yeah.
Okay, because like for them, it must have just been in one scene. Because for the most part, they're kind of like, why didn't you go back to him? And you're like, wait, who's what? Like, it's all very vaguely worded. Like, everything is very, and like,
but like
there's this album of photos, and she goes, I told you not to look at this anymore. And you're like, well, what is it? Wait, I can't really see the photos. And then she just closes it and puts it away and yells at her mom. And you're like, well,
it's abusive the way she yells to her mom, though. Like in a very specific way, because after she saw the dog get in the car, she went to her mom and she's like, I saw a dog today at my vet's office and it was scared to get in the car, but it did. It got in the car. Why couldn't you get in the car, Mom, and drive your own life? Like, what? Yeah. What?
Yep.
Your mom is not a
single
dog.
Time she sees her mom.
The fuck are you talking about?
Every single time she sees her mom, she goes, Mom, that dog got over its fear. Why couldn't you find Dad again? I hate you. And then the mom goes, Can you make me a drink, a gin and tonic? I only remember booze. That's literally what they do in one scene. It's because of course she deserved this divine punishment.
Actually, I have a question, because after that scene something came up. Do you think Cooper was sent there to punish people?
Yes.
Okay, so that explains why Cooper started digging through a bag of stuff that was from his family that they collected from the car, and found a phone and started playing some of their video that they shot minutes before dying.
Yes. See, well, okay, the thing is that Cooper is there specifically to feed on their emotions, and he was getting a little too good because he had kind of gotten the dog to go back to the car. And
he needed to remind him how shitty things were.
He was... See, the thing is that Cooper was starting to, like, starve a little bit on the lack of horrible emotions wafting off of the man, and Cooper was sitting internally going, well, no. There's more here. I can mine this a little bit longer before I find some other family to murder and leech off of. And so it found the video and played it for him.
That also explains why Cooper invited his mom to come over so that she could tell him, hey, the church is having a clothing drive. Can you give them all of your dead kids' clothes?
Why aren't you back at work?
Why aren't you going back to work? I haven't seen you in church. You're going to go to hell.
It's been a week.
It's been like one Sunday. You can't miss it.
canonically inside of the movie, it
Fucking-
has literally been like 8 days, and she's just like, "What are you
He's
going to work
harping
today?"
on
And he's
him.
like, "No,
Yeah.
I think that I'm taking a leave," and she's like, "Okay, fine."
You're not over your dead
Jesus.
family yet?
Can you give away their clothes yet? What's wrong with you? It's been a week.
Fuck. Fuck.
Every single person in this movie is a fucking monster. It's so bad.
Man, so fucked. So anyway, he quits his job, and now it's Christmas.
Mhm.
Merry Christmas.
Oh god, yeah. The vets are having Christmas. The vet techs are bothering her the whole
Mhm.
time. This veterinarian too, going like, "Oh, you should go date that hot guy." Oh god, I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They call him a hot guy, and then she goes, "Well, like, yeah, the attractive ones are weird," or something. She says something
She
about
said,
like,
"Stop
and then he's like,
trying
"Oh,
to
so you
set
do
me up
find him
with all the
attractive."
attractive men."
That's what it was.
He's
Yes.
like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
yeah.
you
And he's
think
like,
he's
"Oh, so you do admit it's
attractive?"
attractive." For context, this was the scene directly after the first time that they saw him, when he looked like he
Bags
was
under his
fucking
eyes,
strung
like,
out and
fucking-
greasy. Like
yeah.
he was fucked up.
Mhm,
Like he
mhm.
just he looked like he was going to like he would go and crawl into a dumpster and just like
Yeah,
lay
and
there.
every-
Just like, not because he didn't have a home or something and he needed to, but just because like that's how he felt. Like he looked like he was just in literally the worst position.
Maybe
Which,
she
yeah,
has
he
a.
was.
Maybe they know she has a vampire fetish or a zombie fetish
God.
or something. Like,
Like,
yeah.
I cannot just. It is hard to describe how like pale and baggy and greasy and like
Mhm,
listless and dead inside this man looked. He looked like a fucking Hollow from Dark Souls.
Mhm,
And she's
mhm.
sitting there like, whoa, this guy's super attractive. Don't you want to
Yep.
go on a date?
I don't even know why Christmas is in this movie because fucking nothing happens during Christmas. I guess it's to show the advancement of time because they happened in summer,
Yeah.
so now it's Christmas. You're like, oh, like four
I
to
guess,
5
yeah,
months
but-
went by. But the point
It's done very
it's
silly.
awful.
Yeah.
The point being that after Christmas, he takes Cooper back to the vet to get
Mhm.
checked and get his shots and everything. And the vet is there being like, hey, how's Cooper doing? Oh, he's doing well. How are you doing? Can I go?
Yeah.
Why are you... You're fucking creepy, lady. Stop.
She starts having, she gets into this whole thing
What
of
the
like,
hell?
so anything happened to, I don't know, you and all of
Yeah,
the people that
Did
you love
anyone
in the
else
last 6 months?
anyone else in your life die? Scratch, scratch, scratch.
there-
I
is
need
there
more.
somebody
I need more.
Like, she just starts trying to like pry into his personal life, and he's sitting there going like, well, I'm gonna take my dog
Yeah.
home.
And it's so weird because afterwards, after that scene, one of the vet techs is like, "Oh, by the way, we saw this lost dog sign, which is definitely Cooper. Like, we should go
Mhm.
tell him that this is not his dog. He needs to give this back to the owner." And she takes this as an opportunity not to improve his life and not tell him and just let him keep this dog that he's become attached to and is part of his grieving process.
Yep.
And instead insert herself into his fucking life
Yes.
so that she could tear it apart.
Yep, and force him to make the decision. She goes to his house, and like, this is the fucked up thing to me, is that in the middle of all of this trauma and pain for this man, she goes to his house and he goes, well, I thought it should be your decision. And I'm like, yeah, he seems like he's in a decision-making mood. He needs to make big life decisions right now. Good job. You really nailed it. Well done.
Great.
Like,
Great.
because he's like sitting in his backyard just like throwing rocks at the fence. She comes and sees him and it's like, this is a man who needs some major life decision moments. You should put a lot of stuff on him. Just ask him everything that he wants, like, let's decide, do you want to move? What do you want to do? Like, give him more things to think about. He doesn't seem like he has enough on his plate.
He decides to give the dog back, which
Stupid movie.
doesn't involve her. She's done.
No.
There's nothing else for her to do.
Correct. Yes. Also this, yes.
So of course,
she goes, well, if you're going to return the dog, I should drive with you for 3 hours into the country and then meet these other total strangers that I've never met before. And we can have a lovely, nice day of it over your trauma, which I desperately need.
I need your trauma. Yeah, like everybody in this movie is a fucking emotional vampire. It's so weird. Why are they so into it?
And he immediately goes, yeah, sounds good.
Yeah,
Because again,
whatever.
he's not in the headspace to make decisions. Because this is not a decision you make. You don't have this woman come with you. You don't do this. People that are in a good state do not let wild strangers that have screamed at them for basically her only interactions with this man have been a week of yelling into his voicemail about what a piece of shit he is and treating him like garbage. And then him coming in and trying to get his dog a checkup, and her being like, so I'm sorry about that. It was the family that died? Your whole family? Was it everybody?
Can you go into more detail about how much you are sad about your family dying? I need to know.
Isn't it horrible? I need to know. And then the third time is her telling him, oh, and by the way, that dog that's helping you get through your grief, it's not yours. How does that make you feel? Is it bad? Is it really bad? And he's like, okay, yeah, you should come with me.
Yeah.
What? No.
What?
This woman should leave your life forever. Get her out. Fuck this woman.
It's wild too, because when they do go to the farm, we find some incredibly absurd revelations about this dog.
Oh yeah, I really, really wanted. This is where we said we wished that there was a moment then of a flashback at the end of this, like Unbreakable style of like the dog paw like cutting the brake line of the car and drowning the grandson, as it turns out, of the people at the farm.
Yeah,
spoiler
because
alert.
the people at the farm were like, "Oh, yeah, we also found that dog. His name was Hank. That's what we named him." It was weird though, because after he showed up, our grandson wandered in the woods and didn't come back, and then 2 days later we found him drowned in a pond. Oh well. What? Excuse me?
Yo, they need to get rid of this dog, guys.
What? So the dog doesn't want to go with that family because it's already exhausted the emotional grief from them. So he wants to go back with this schmuck. Yeah, they started
getting better.
Right? He wants to go back with this schmuck who's still grieving.
Well, and also it's starting to... You smell that? There's some more trauma.
Oh, there's some more trauma because wait, there was the vet's mother. We haven't dealt with the vet's mother yet. Oh my god.
What if I do something there? Oh my god.
What if we kill her in her sleep?
So the dog pushes down a pillow over the vet's mother.
Yes.
And now the vet's mom dies.
And that night the dog leaves the bed of our main character, husband of the family that died, and instead shows up at the vet's house.
Dun dun dun.
And it's now her dog.
Now she has the curse. This is It Follows, the dog trauma edition.
Yeah, and the whole time the vet's like, oh, he must have went to go help the next person. He's so helpful.
Yeah, yep. And the same with the guy. The guy's just like, well, guess I didn't need him anymore.
Yeah, because the guy at the farm is weird too.
The worst version of the Littlest Hobo.
That guy at the farm's a serial killer. Like,
everyone is in this
why
movie.
did he take photos of people that went onto his ranch for horse
oh my
rides?
God, yes,
and then stamp them all over his fridge. His fridge.
Personal fridge.
And we know
personal fridge.
We know for a fact that a number of those people were fucking dead.
A bunch of them, at least 3.
Yeah, and he just stares longingly at them every time he walks into his kitchen.
The trophies. It isn't like the blood slides in like Dexter or something.
What?
It's like trophies from his kills. So he tells the dad that they have a why did the dad go back out there again?
Oh,
It
because
was like-
Cooper ran
was-
away,
oh,
and he
right, 'cause Cooper ran
assumed
away, so
Cooper
he
went
thought-
back
right,
to the
yes.
farm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he goes back out there. Instead of calling
Mhm.
like a human being, he drives 3 hours out into the country again to see them, talks this guy in his house, and he's like, oh, well, I think I got photos of all the people that come and do our horsey rides. Here's your family right on
No,
my
it wasn't even
fridge,"
that.
like normal people
It was
do.
even weirder. It was even weirder because he's just talking to the guy about Cooper because he's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
why don't
and
you
he
come in?
notices
Why don't you
it,
come in
yeah.
for a drink?" And on his island in his kitchen, he
Mhm.
has a jar of cum and a jar of piss, and then and then as they're,
Yeah,
and then as
yeah.
they're talking about Cooper and where he went, the guy just looks over at his fridge. He's like, "Is that my fucking daughter?"
Why do you have that?
Why do you
That's
have
really
a picture
creepy,
of my
dude.
wife, my daughter, and my son who were very dead?
And then he goes, "Oh, we just do that. We just do that." And he's like, "Oh, okay, sounds good." And then he just drinks his tea and leaves.
and the
like you
cops
do.
never knew a thing.
Nobody knows. a
Nobody
thing.
knew.
So he goes back, and the vet now has this dog because she's got her own trauma.
It's
How much she hates her mom.
It's weird,
Which
actually.
the final scene with her mom was her yelling about, "I hate you.
Yeah,
you should have
it
gone
was
back for dad. Why couldn't you do this
fucking
for
awful.
me? You're a bitch. I hate you." And then her mom dies, and they never address that.
No.
It's just that's the final talk with her mom, and it's never like she has a moment where she goes, "Oh my god, I can't believe those were my last words to my mother," or anything like that.
There's
It's
nothing.
no. In fact, the next time that we see anything about that storyline, it's her throwing away the family photo album and being like, "Well, don't need that bitch in my life anymore." And just chucks like all of her mother's shit in the garbage, and you're like,
Great.
cool.
Great. After the vet does get Cooper attached to her like some sort of leech.
Yes. Some dark omen.
Yeah,
from
the guy's still looking for Cooper
underworld.
because he hasn't found the dog yet. So he's wandering around in the desert at 2 a.m.
Yes, in pitch darkness,
Yeah.
he's just out in the woods, desert
And-
kind of thing. Like it looks
yeah,
like New Mexico.
And she
or
just
something.
drives up with a flashlight.
She knows where he is. She just knows
And
where he
she,
is.
it's
with
like she put a
flashlight.
tracker on his car.
Oh my god, she put a tracker on
It's
his car.
fucked up.
I firmly believe she
It's
did that.
fucked up.
It was in. She had all the time in the world. It was out front of her vet. We're learning all kinds of deep lore about this movie.
But then she
It
shows
was
up. It's
outside
like,
of her office the whole time.
"Hey,
She knew.
you're still looking in the woods, right? I found Cooper. He's right here."
He's mine now.
Anyways, let's go home. What?
And he goes, "Yeah, okay."
What?
What is the connection between these people? They have no connection.
I don't know.
This is like developing a weird parasocial relationship with like the McDonald's employee
Right?
who gives you a burger. Like this is like not insulting that person. It's just like you have no connection here. Like there's nothing wrong with being a McDonald's cashier. It's just it's that impersonal. Like this is just somebody that he
Like,
had a transactional relationship with at one point. where
yeah, like you
gave
went
her
to the
money for
coffee
the
shop and
dog.
ordered an
Like-
espresso, and then that became your life.
Yes,
What?
because the person followed him and stalked him
yeah.
and asked about his dead family and like stares in his windows all the time.
Mhm. But he
Anyway,
he
this
decides
is the love interest that he
Yeah, that's the love interest. He decides to sell his house because there's too much attached to the place where he's living, and that's totally fair. And he moves, and then
Mhm.
after she stalks his house, like you do, he goes back to that same vet later with a new puppy,
Yes.
and that's when he asks her out on a date.
Like you would, because they've seen each other 4 times. Also, his wife's really dead, and it's been like 6 months.
Yeah, you can get
so-
over it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He got over it with the dog.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Oh, and then they take the dog on a walk, and they see
Oh, God.
an obvious chemo patient. They see an obvious chemo
do.
patient
They
in the park,
do.
and the dog runs over to it and goes,
I smell death.
Hey, you got some of that trauma and death. I like that. Hey, what are you doing later?"
Yeah.
To this lady
And-
with like
and-
a
yeah,
scarf.
And the
on her
vet's
head.
looking at her like, "Oh, he's picked another one."
He has a new one. I feel like she's like his assistant now.
Mhm.
She's become like his handler for his death machine or
don't-
something.
Like that dog's gonna
And
murder
then the
someone
dog-
again, and she knows, and she's totally cool
Yes.
with that.
Yep. And then the dog goes missing from her house.
Mhm, mhm.
And she even when she goes to the guy, she goes, "Oh, I'm surprised that we found the dog again." Like, because they find the dog, and I can't. God, I
Yeah,
can't
he
even
does
remember how
just
that
show up
happens.
randomly again. She's like, "Oh,
He
I
just shows up to her.
I thought he would go to the cancer patient that we found in the park."
She even says it.
Not,
She literally
but
says
it's because she has more trauma to
'Cause
go
that's a
through,
normal-
and he
that's
felt
a
the
normal
calling.
thing.
He felt the calling.
Like they know that this dog just siphons the life out of the people that it's around, that it's going to be
Mhm.
like that it's this horrible
And-
death omen.
And
And
eventually,
she's just like, "Yeah, I'm sure it was just gonna go to the next person that's dying. Why wouldn't it?"
why wouldn't it? That's what it does. Eventually, the dog does leave again once they're finally a
Yes.
family, and they both have their
Ugh.
their dogs. I guess whatever. And the movie ends with a dog found sign as the curse gets passed.
It's like the end of The Ring, where it's like, "Oh my god, the tape's still out there." Like, right? Like it's
Yes.
totally like the end of The Ring. It is absolutely that. It's like it's still there. It follows. It could find you. Maybe this dog will be on your doorstep one
This
day.
is a horror movie plot. It is. It is. It's wild.
It's such an incredible thing that they thought that this was like a touching, heartwarming slice of life story rather than a horrible, traumatic, like scary horror movie. This dog, we watched Devil Dog, The Hound of Hell
Mhm.
last week, and that's why we needed to watch Angel Dog this week.
Mhm.
By the way, you should watch that last.
So we
should
could
listen to that last
compare.
episode.
It's important.
So we could
Yeah.
compare and contrast. This dog has a higher kill count.
It does.
This dog doesn't just have a higher kill count. This dog has a higher kill count by 5 times.
Yeah, we at least know 5 people that died in this movie because of this dog, but it's implied that there are way more.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in the last one, there was only one. Only one person died in Devil Dog from that dog's actions. It was just the neighbor.
It was the neighbor plus their counselor who got hit by a car.
Oh, the counselor. You're right. That person died too.
Yeah. I want to say it
Okay.
was 3
So-
total in that movie.
As like 2
Yeah.
times the kill
Yeah,
count
yeah.
at least then. Because this one kills 5 for sure.
Yeah.
That we know of, this dog has definitely killed 5, but it is implied that this dog is ancient and ever present.
It could be millions.
It follows every. It could be. I'm pretty sure it is.
Like,
this dog shows up at every house.
Is this
where
the
someone's
4
about to
horsemen of
die.
the apocalypse, the pestilence demon, or like what is
This
this?
is the dog of death. Yes,
Yeah.
this is Death's personal dog. If you actually look really closely at it,
Yeah.
then it'll like your eyes will kind of slide off of it, and you're like, I think it was a border collie. Like you can't quite name
Was
the
it?
breed of the dog.
It's like
because
shimmering a bit. Yeah, it's weird.
It's so dark and unknowable that your mind puts something there, but realistically, like if you were to see it in its full form, it's just like this horrible skeleton dog thing that's like made of the void, ready to steal your soul.
Yeah.
Fuck, I love this movie.
There,
This movie was so fucking boring.
I do want
It was
to
awful.
talk quickly about the directing of the film too.
Sure.
Every single scene that a character is eating, they need to be on the floor eating so that they can get the dog standing next to them in the same shot.
Which I greatly appreciated.
Every single scene that isn't like crying about trauma needs to be petting a dog. Every scene.
Yes. I wrote down every pet. I have 30 pets 3 pets of a cat,
Mm-hmm.
because they had cats in this multiple times. There were some really good cats. And 2, what I call reverse pets, where the dog really, really wanted a treat and reached out and started pawing.
Started petting the human. Yeah.
The human.
Yeah, what a good pup.
It was a really good pup.
As far as directing goes, again, they do not own a tripod. That's important to know. There's no tripod in this movie.
All hand.
It's all shaky cam. It's all like Dutch angle because they can't hold it straight. Not on purpose, Dutch angle. Just
everything is just askew.
There's some real bad framing too. They'll have characters standing and talking, and they want the dog in the shot that's below them, but the dog's not framed properly. So you get like the top of the dog, no feet, and you get the bottom of the person's head who's standing.
Yes.
And it's like while they're talking,
they split the difference.
Yeah.
They split the difference.
Just
Don't
like,
worry about it.
what?
It's fine.
There's multiple. There's at least one scene where we also see a boom mic operator in a window.
Yeah, or
They
the
left
camera
it.
person, something like that.
There's a ton of those
somebody very
scenes.
obviously like on the crew in the window, like through the
Mhm.
bath. Like basically, it's the doorway to the hall and the bathroom across, or like, and it's like either the window or a mirror in the bathroom or something. And there's just like this
Yeah.
obvious full person there, like that was filming in the room. They just leave it. They just have it
If
there.
you took
Don't close that door. Why would you close that door?
If you took one look in the camera before hitting record, you would know.
You would have noticed it immediately. You
Immediately.
should have noticed it immediately.
The only thing I can really say about this from filmmaking perspective is that they did a good job of miking their actors. Every actor is mic'd well. They don't sound like they're far away or anything.
Yeah, they have a couple shots like at
Yeah.
the end and stuff too during some of the sad montages, which is again 90%
It's
of
like
this
90% of the movie. Yeah.
It's really bad. It's really like I
And
cannot
there is not a
stress you
scene
enough
in this
how tired I
film-
am of sad piano.
Yeah,
music.
there's not a scene in this film where they felt they did not need soundtrack. It's just a constantly running soundtrack.
And it's all just
Or it's like, when your dog murders your family.
Yes.
And you're feeling
Yeah,
very
or like
sad.
weird spoken
Yeah.
kind of drawl soft rock country
Mhm.
thing that they've got going on. But there was a couple shots at the end that I do want to say, like he's looking out over some hills and like the sun setting. And it's like, yeah, okay. I mean, it's decently shot. Like it's not fully incompetent. It just feels like they hacked this together as cheaply and quickly as possible.
It's really cheap.
If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
It doesn't feel like there was really a vision for the way they wanted it to look or sound.
No.
That's the
definitely.
frustrating part to me from like filmmaking perspective. There needs to be
there's no cohesion,
that drive, that energy. And just like the dog does, all of the energy in the film gets sucked out immediately. Just like the dog
Well,
does
there's
to the
no
actors and the
plot.
characters. It just sucks all of their energy.
There's like no plot or tension
No.
or anything because it's not like it is just meandering watching this man have trauma and watching the vet stalk him
And
over
the
it.
direction
there's
is always,
nothing
we need you to stare forward.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
even in a movie that's kind of slice of life, just looking at trauma or whatever, and is really introspective, which was, I guess, what this thing is trying for, you generally need to have more, like, less ambiguous stakes and stuff and things actually happening. Like, for the relationship that he has with her eventually, like the vet, right? Like, there's no build up to it and stuff, or like him getting over the trauma. They don't show it in any real way. It's done so
Yeah.
ambiguously. And
The build up should lead to the logical conclusion of get away from me. Not I want you in my
Yes, that
life.
too.
That's the other problem.
Yeah,
It's the
because it's-
opposite message.
Yeah, because of the way that it's done, because it's so fucking creepy about it. But like there's no big emotional moment where he's like, he gets over his family or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's
Yeah.
nothing that shows that he's over this trauma other than he just asks her out, and it's like, oh,
And that sort of implies that the only
okay.
way to move on with your life is to get into a relationship.
Right? Like,
what?
There's nothing that drives this movie forward
Yeah.
because you don't have any, and there's no stakes for him or something either, where it's like, oh, he needs to get out and do things because like he's got other people that care about him in his life. Like they show his mom shows up for one scene to nag at him.
That's
and
it.
Tell him, why
Yeah.
aren't you why aren't you working? It's been a week. Why don't you give away your children's clothes? Because it's been a week. Like that's the only things that are there. Like you need something where it's like her talking to him and being like, listen, like you need to get out, you need to meet someone. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
they need
and like
something that's propelling
even-
him forward, but there's nothing.
even the vet has like no emotional anything. Because the whole
there's
beginning
no
is
reason
just
for
her
her to go
bitching him
forward.
out for not picking up his dog and thinking he's a terrible person. And
they make her seem miserable.
Yeah, and there's just no like empathy in this whole movie.
No, there's no empathy
maybe
at all in
sympathy,
this.
but no empathy.
No, yeah, there's none. Like when they see another person that's hurting, every single time, which happens constantly in
Mhm.
this movie because it's all about this dog just finding trauma people, and every single time that they find a new person, all they do is they go, oh, so what happened to them? Oh, and then you found the dog. The dog's really cute, huh? It's a miracle that you found that dog. Like every
Mhm,
single person
mhm.
describes this dog as a miracle. That when they go like, oh, well, you know, the dog showed up on our doorstep. It was a miracle. Anyways, then our grandson died.
So
Like
some
it's
of this
that?
does sound like Harvester to me. Like we were joking about Harvester
really
earlier.
does.
It does. Wow, you're a real kidder, Steve. It's like it's that, but not sarcastic.
Let's reference Harvester, you know, early 90s
FMV
point
game.
and click adventure FMV game that I'm sure everyone that's listening has played, but also you should play. Well, now you
I don't know if you should
watch
play
the first half of
Harvester, to be
Harvester.
fair, but
Harvester it's wild. It's extremely graphic.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, it's done in that stilted weird way. Like Harvester is meant to be a satire of
Mhm.
a lot of that in a lot of ways, and it comes off like that, but it's so boring and self-serious that it's generally
like-
not even funny
it's
to
like
laugh
they
at.
in this movie. It's like they made a satirical film without any satire. It's all
Yes.
intentional.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be uplifting and inspirational, and you moved past your horrible thing that happened, but it's all put in a way of like, wow, it took you that fucking long.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and it's
Like
all
what?
it's such a slow, boring accidental satire that it's not even funny that it's
No.
accidentally satiring. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's not funny because it's just another 5-minute montage of sad piano music and dude eating cold leftovers on his floor, and you're just like, okay. And it's like, oh, this time the dog's gone again. Oh, this time the dog's back again.
Oh, this
Now
time he's on the
feeding
floor
dog.
again. Oh, now he's walking the
Right?
dog
Like,
again.
It's just that over and
Yeah.
over, and there's no driving force behind any of it. There's very little dialogue, honestly, in a lot of this movie because so much of it is just sad montages. So there's no stakes. You don't get an idea of like, what was this guy's business?
He was on the
What did
computer.
his family like? What did his family like to do before they died?
Well, they
What
like
did
to
they
talk
all-
about how they were very much alive. That's what we know.
But like, you know, we don't know like the things that they did together. Like you might say like, oh,
Mhm.
like maybe his wife always had the dream of going to Hawaii or something. I don't know, something
Something, yeah.
stupid. But like think of like Up, right? A movie that's also about trauma, but then it's about getting past it because the whole point is, oh, well, she always wanted to do this her whole life. And so I'm going to go and do that to move past my grief over her.
Yeah, it's my
And, of
tribute
course,
to
the
her,
twist in that-
right? Like, yeah.
Yes, yeah, and then of course the trick was in that it's like, well, he didn't need to do that because the best thing in her life was him. It
Mhm.
was he always gave her a good life, and that's the closing moment of the grief where he understands and like, I didn't need to do this big thing. I just needed to accept my wife and move past it. Do you know, like that kind of thing? And this movie
Yeah.
doesn't have any of that. Like, it doesn't have, like, his wife isn't a person. She doesn't have goals and dreams or anything like that. They don't set
Well,
any of that up. She's in the film
they-
for 10
they-
seconds.
they
and
kill
they
her
don't
the
reference
first-
anything
yeah,
from before
They
that.
kill her during the opening credits. And then they spend
Right?
10
But, like-
minutes just, here's the morgue, here's the funeral, here's the sitting on the floor in the fetal position. Like, that's what we
And I
know
mean, I
of
think
her,
that
is
could-
that she's sad.
Yeah.
That's it. That's her whole life, is
And
that he's sad.
Like, you could easily do this kind
Yeah.
of movie where, and then even if she died in the first 10 seconds, they could have him, like, pull out an old journal from her
Mhm.
and, like, look back and be like, oh, these are all the times that we spent together.
Mhm.
These are the things that we did. This is our life together. This is what I loved about her. This is what I loved about my kids. Oh, my son was really into hockey, or, like, maybe I'll coach a little hockey team, right? Like, do you know what I mean? To deal with that. None of that, because you don't have anything about any of these characters. They don't delve into them in the slightest. So all they are is trauma, and all the movie can do is be listless about it, and it just ends up being nothing.
Uh-huh.
There is nothing to grab onto here except sad piano music,
Well,
cold leftovers.
The only thing we can
floor.
grab onto is the fact that that dog definitely killed all
That dog
of them.
definitely killed them. And I would like to rate that dog now, because I think we're done with this fucking
Yes.
movie.
Yes. Cooper, the border collie. The only thing
Mhm.
this movie does right is that every dog that is getting pet on screen and every cat that is getting pet on screen is having a fucking good ass time.
Is having a hell of a time.
Yeah.
He snuggles the dog on the bed at
Mhm.
one point, and the dog rolls over and gets really good belly rubs for like
Mhm.
a minute and a half as sad piano music plays and he cries listlessly. But at least that dog's getting some real good belly rubs, and you get to watch that. So I mean, it does that. Everybody describes Cooper as a miracle. And I'm just going to rate this dog as not a miracle out of 10. It is, in fact, a dark omen and a sign of the apocalypse. Please get this dog out of your house.
Mhm.
I was waiting for him after he found out that their grandson died at their farm, for like the next scene to be him driving out into the woods beside their farm and like doing the gun
With
and
the
like
gun
firing
and
at
fire,
it,
like in the Devil Dog? Yeah.
with like the devil dog, and like all the bullets miss or like just disappear, and it's like, no, it has dark powers. You cannot. I am timeless. You cannot end. Like,
Yeah. I would rate Cooper / Hank / whatever demonic name this angel dog has a Amogus.
just sprouts eyes all over
I
it.
would rate it an Amogus sus out of 10. That is an imposter dog.
At any moment, it was like going to unveil its glory, and it
Mhm.
would be blinding light and eyes everywhere, and
Mhm.
everybody's retinas would burn out. And it'd be like, I am the angel of the Lord. I am death. I have come
Right.
for you.
The vet has a dog too named Baxter, who is this greyhound
Baxter's
with
a
really big ears, and what a sweetie. What a sweetie.
Mhm. We only get Baxter for like 2 scenes, but one of those
Hmm.
scenes is her talking on the phone with while she's like rubbing Baxter's ear, and it goes on for like a minute, and Baxter just lays there the whole time getting quiet.
Getting scritches and yeah,
Yes,
oh
gross.
man.
Oh, Baxter doesn't move a muscle. Baxter's just having a fucking time.
What
which-
a chill
yeah.
dog. I would give that
what a
dog
treat.
a a Dove Channel and chill out of 10. Which is an oddly specific rating. I broke my co-host.
Damn it, I can't.
All right, the next dog is Hank Jr., which is a border collie puppy.
Is that so? His Dove Channel and chill, like eating cold McDonald's on the floor and then jacking it over your Bible?
No,
afterwards?
it's jamming 20 marshmallows in your mouth at once and just eating them
Oh my
all.
god, she eats a bowl of marshmallows. I forgot about that. Well, she's petting Baxter's ear. It's Christmas, so she has the traditional mug of hot liquid that we don't get to see,
Mhm.
and a giant popcorn bowl of marshmallows
Yeah.
that she just eats. She's just eating them like a fucking monster. Who does that?
The last dog is Hank Jr., which is the border collie puppy that
Yes.
our main character grabs to try and turn around his life. That is a cute puppy, always blepping. just having a good time. Not sure what film they're in, but I'm sure it'll be great and it'll make them a star.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Sorry, I can't Dove Channel, but I
Yeah. Look,
all
all
right,
right. Look, Dove Channel and chill.
Thank you. You stole all the funny out of it. All right, now it's good.
Yeah, I
thank
fixed
you.
it.
The
You're
joke's
welcome.
over.
You're
now.
welcome.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Whew. Okay, I'm reset. Perfect. All right. So thank you all for listening to Rough Cuts this week, where we did Angel Dog. We're
Yeah.
closing in on episode 100. We had a big poll about what y'all want us to do for that, and we have some ideas we're working out. I think we're gonna get some guests again soon. So if you want to follow us, you can always check out our Twitter. We've got at Rough Cuts Cast, and we also have roughcutscast@gmail.com. If you want to send us in an email, we can read it off on stream. You can send us suggestions for dog movies that you want. We've gotten a few in the past that have been absolutely fantastic, so we really appreciate those. And yeah, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Is that sorry, what?
I think somebody's at your door.
Why is there a dog?
Yeah, there's somebody at your
Is
door.
that-
Is that a... Yeah, what is that? 1 second. Yeah.
Oh fuck! It's a dog. It's staring at me. Oh my god!
Oh my god! It's a beautiful border collie! Like, if this is how they start the film, where do they go for fucking 85 minutes?
Don't go get
Nowhere.
Michelle. He's not a lost dog.
Shit, you're
Yeah, we should
right.
be here in the morning.